Our next speaker, Mr. Abdulkarim Abughali, VP Sales and Operations for the Middle East Africa at the Umbrella Security Industries. Speaking on today's topic is Fintech cybersecurity challenges and recommendations. Over to you, Mr. Abdulkarim.
Thank you very much. My name is Abdulkarim Abughali. I'm the VP of Sales and Operations for the Middle East and Africa and Umbrella. And I'm going to talk about the challenges in the fintech for the cybersecurity and the recommendations from our speaker. So it's going to be almost around 15 slides. I'm going to be a little bit more quick and fast at the beginning because I need maybe to spend some more time in the last 4 slides. So according to the market screens, the global fintech market will worth 26.6 trillion by 2022. And with a growth of year over year of 6%. That increments is due to the high interest in the credit and insurance and the investments in the fintech. Only in Europe, the fintech technology increase or using the financial technologies has been increased by 72% during 2020. So from the other side, if we look at all of this progress and the growth, from the other side, there is a lot of, let's say, challenges that jeopardizing also from all aspects this growth, which, and according to the same sources also, the attacks against the financial sector has been increased by 238% globally from the beginning of February, which means that the official beginning of the pandemic, with new attacks every 39 seconds. That's due to all of the new evolving technologies that the fintech or the financial sectors as well is using and evolving, like the cloud, the mobility, the IoT, the IIoT, which is in the industrial Internet of Things, the artificial intelligence, the blockchain, the e-services in general. So with all of that, there is always, an impact for any growth and any, let's say, growth in any kind of new technologies. So financial sector is becoming more digitized and interconnected, which open the doors to emerging threat and lead. And this is what we'll talk about it also in the coming few slides, and the impact and the cost and the consequences of this. And we heard about many other, even in a daily basis, we heard about many breaches, attacks, and cybersecurity incidents worldwide, especially also in the financial sector, in the banks. It's just some of it has been announced recently. Since long time ago, we hear and still every day hearing about new breaches or cybersecurity attacks worldwide. One of the main targeted sectors is the financial sector. So why the Middle East? Why the Gulf? I think we know the Gulf is surrounded by a lot of countries that won't allow for these countries, to be stable. It's for geopolitical reason and for political mainly reasons as well. So there are a lot of reasons behind why the Gulf countries are targeted from cybersecurity perspective. That's why a lot of cost behind the breaches. And according to many different sources, the Gulf region specifically has been categorized as one of the worst categories, one of the worst regions in many, let's say, cybersecurity breaches categories, whether, for example, in the incidents or the cost-based incidents, the data breaches, and there is always a cost behind this. Just only for the financial sectors. For example, for any breach or leak of any kinds of records, financial records, the cost is huge. That's why we started to see in the fintech and in all of the financial sectors, the cybersecurity becomes a boardroom discussion. It's not anymore a technical team. So that's why even now the cybersecurity team is headed by the top managements, maybe the CEO of the bank or the top level of the managements heading the committee of the cybersecurity. And that's because a lot of impact and damages in the bank. It's not just only in the business results, it's also in the brand image. And we hear about many incidents and breaches happened for well-known banks worldwide. It's also impacting the supply chain, impacting the legal exposure, impact of hacketism, and also all of the other, let's say, impacts that gonna consequently impact the organizations. So, but with all of that, I believe now, or we always believe, that all legacy cybersecurity approaches are not helping. With all of the evolving in the technology, with all of the every new, let's say, ways of hacking or breaches. So relying on the old cybersecurity approaches are not helping anymore. But with all of that, also, there are a lot of challenges within the same organization, maybe because of the tight of the budget to go with the new approach, limited visibility, threats evolving and sophistication for the threats, and also the hacking. So how we can start with the approach? The most important part is going back to the fundamentals. Going back to fundamentals means that we need to cover three main facets for the cybersecurity, which are the technology, which is one of the main facets, but also the processes within that organization and the people. So we have to look at the complete end-to-end coverage and complete end-to-end, let's say, platform that can cover all of these three main facets. Focusing on the technology, it has been proven that it's not going to be the only way that can give you the maximum level of cybersecurity. You have to look at the complete end-to-end platform, or building a complete end-to-end system that gonna cover all of these three facets, which will give you will give and help the organization to reach to the maximum level of cybersecurity. How you can start with this? By building, as we said, for the technology, building a complete, what we call it, the next generation cybersecurity, defense and intelligence. In another word, we call it the managed detection and response, and or MDR, which covers all of the cybersecurity aspects and cover whatever new technologies or evolved technologies to make sure from technology perspective that your organization is completely covered. It is not, as we said, it is not just only a matter of single technology or a certain, let's say, approach. It's a complete, you have to look at the cybersecurity as a complete end-to-end platform that's supposed to help the organization to look at not just only even the threats, even to look at the risks that jeopardizing any organization, even to start working on these risks before it's becoming threats. So saying this is from technology perspective. So from what about from let's say, people and the processes perspective. You need to build a complete end-to-end ecosystem that also give you the full governance on all of the processes and the people and the mindset that you have within the organization. So building that platform that's supposed to be also in line with the previous, let's say, technology, and look at it as a complete end-to-end platform that's supposed to give you the maximum level of cybersecurity for your organization. So it's a complete, as I said, it's a complete journey. It's not a destination. It's a complete journey where you start on looking at the whole ecosystems of security and make sure that you cover all of these cybersecurity aspects. So building the governance, as I said, for covering the processes and the people, needs a complete ERP or cybersecurity ERP platform, which is supposed to cover the main cybersecurity aspects, not just only from technology perspectives, but also from all other perspectives that's related or existing within the organizations and might be of serious, let's say, impact on the assets of the whole organization. So it's as I said, it's a complete ecosystem, and you need to take into considerations to cover all of these aspects. For example, the assets management, which means that you have to recognize all of the assets within the organization, within the financial sector, recognize it, identify it, and know all of the risks that available within that organization. So you need also to have a complete end-to-end audit management system, service management systems. You have to have also cybersecurity operation systems, which gonna be linked with the previous, let's say, technology that we talked about, which is the MDR technology, the compliance management to make sure that from the governance perspective, the bank is completely compliant with all of the rules and regulations of whatever, let's say, organization within that country, whether it's the central bank or also within the organization that puts the rules and regulations for the cybersecurity. So to make sure that also you are 100% compliance, you need to have a full system. The exposure management for the financial sectors, it's very important always to, especially in the fintech and the financial sector, to have a regular exposure management, or what we call the penetration testing. Sometimes some of the banks, which we are dealing with also, they are doing this every quarter. Some of the banks, according to the rules and regulations of the central banks, they are doing this, and it is mandatory to do this twice a year. Some of the banks, they do it once a year for the penetration testings or source code reviews or the vulnerability assessment to make sure that whatever vulnerabilities available within the organization, within the bank, can be identified and can be respond to it or plan to immediately to respond to whatever kinds of vulnerabilities that will jeopardize the whole organization. And as we said, it's not just only especially for the banks. We are talking about the whole reputation of the bank. Any breaches or disconnection or any kinds of impact in any services of the banks, it's going to cost the banks millions and millions of dollars even per minute. So I'm pretty sure for the fintech, this is something really extremely important, and it's extremely important to plan for it very well. So this is last and very important, let's say, slide, which put the whole picture in one slide, where how all of the fintech and all of the, whether insurance or banking or whatever part of the fintech technology, it's very important to consider these three main elements, which is the first one is the managed detection and response. That's supposed to cover all of the technologies that you have on the ground. It's not just only the IT. You need also to secure all of the users. You need to secure, as we said in the previous, because a lot of vulnerabilities today in the cloud, and a lot of the financial sector started to put their services on the cloud. It's very important to have a complete ecosystem, a complete platform that will give you a full security on the cloud for whatever services or whatever, let's say, assets that you have on the cloud. It's also, the banks started to use also the OT or IoT technologies, or also IIoT, which is Industrial Internet of Things, which is also one of the main, let's say, technologies that are also exposed, I would say, to the threats. Also endpoints, because you know that we are mainly, the majority of the services for the banks, it started to be remotely using the mobiles or even the users themselves. The bank's users started because of the pandemic, started to be also joining the work from home. So you need to make sure that also that solution or whatever ecosystem you build, it's supposed to cover the endpoint. So this is the first, as I said, the first main pillar, which means the monitoring and response to any immediate response to any threat. The whole solution is supposed to be cascaded by the MRC, or managed risks and compliance, which I talked about it. It's the governance, which guarantee you also cover the alignments or the governance of the processes or the people, how they can deal with the data, what's the processes needed. All of this stuff supposed to be cascaded or covered by also that platform. So we are not talking here about, from security perspective now, we are not talking about the technology. So it is not like before. It's now we need to take into considerations about how the hackers also thinking, how to evolve with all of the new technologies. Also, and that's why having the advanced services as the third pillar here, it is also very important to be part of the ecosystem, the cybersecurity ecosystem or cybersecurity platform, to make sure that your assets or your organization, the bank organization, is always protected. How to do that? By trying to think as a hacker and to try to hack the bank and see where are the leakage there and where are the vulnerabilities, and try immediately to respond to whatever let's say vulnerabilities available or whatever risks, because the most important in the new approach is to identify all of the risks and not just wait for the threats to become or to happen. So identifying the risks now is much more important than waiting until the risks become a threat and the damage happens. So being proactive is much more important than just only having certain technology that will identify for you the threats after the threats or after the incidents happen. So having the advanced services is something really very important for all of the fintech vertical, For example, having the risks assessments, as I said, it's very important, making sure that the compliance assessment that the bank or the organization is fully complying with the cybersecurity organization within your country or worldwide. I believe that also, we know that also the banks in Europe or worldwide now, they put some rules and regulations even in the banks in the Middle East to be fully compliant with GDPR. This is something very important also from security perspective and from compliance perspective. Exposure, as I said, exposure management, having regularly trying to work as a hacker and see whatever vulnerabilities that you have within your organization and be very proactive. It's something really very important. The same for red teaming. It is in the same road. So having also always doing a maturity assessments for your cybersecurity center and the readiness for the cybersecurity center, it's always very important. And at the top of that, if once there is an incident, it's very important to have also an organization or third parties or the tools and readiness for the forensics and investigations to know what's happened, what was behind it, the root cause analysis, and how you can react immediately to any threats. This is mainly the ecosystem that we would recommend for the fintech. And from our experience, and especially for more than 12 years of experience in the fintech and the insurance companies and the banking in specific, we would recommend to look at the cybersecurity, not from technology perspective, but as a complete ERP system and build a complete platform that's supposed to help you to reach to whatever level of security that you want to reach to. Some of the organization, because as I said, because of the budget issues and because of the limitations and the resources limitations, because we know worldwide that there are limitations in terms of resources, especially in the cybersecurity. You can take all of these platforms as a service. You don't need to invest millions of dollars in building this ecosystem, because this ecosystem has been already built within some organizations, and you can use all of these services. You can utilize this platform as a service. You can outsource it as a platform as a service, cybersecurity as a service, and can be provided as end-to-end cybersecurity, in addition to whatever you have existing in your organization. So this is from my point of view and from our point of view as a company, how the fintech and the financial or even insurance sectors supposed to look at the cybersecurity. And with this slides, I'm coming to the end of the presentation. I hope that everyone has been enjoyed it as I did. And if you have any question or any concerns, just please send me an email to my email, which you can see it in this slide. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Abdulkarim, for your presentation. I also believe you'll have a booth at the exhibition zone. So attendees, y'all can go and ask your question, check the products and services, and connect with Umbrella Securities Industries. I have a question for you, sir. In your few months or during the pandemic, and as we all know, there's a rise of cybersecurity cases. What is the one case study you all have checked out that your product has been most effective with?
Yeah, to be honest, it's due to the pandemic and due to whatever happening in the world, and also because as we mentioned, since the February 2020, there is a huge increments in the cyber attacks and in the threats. We built a complete end-to-end as I said, a platform which you can use it. Even we are offering it to all of our financial sectors customers in the Gulf and worldwide as well, to have the service so you can use the whole platform as a service, and making sure that also adding to that whatever, let's say, modules and use cases actually that we added to the whole platform that helped our customer to protect, cover also the customers that have a lot of difficulties even to come or to go to their, let's say, to their premise and to their banks, and to be interactive directly with us. So one of the use cases that we added is to how to respond also to the threats, and help also our customers from their home to respond to whatever, let's say, incidents directly without the need even to go to their banks.
Thank you, Mr. Abdulkarim, and we hope to meet you in the next event, or in person or virtually again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.